Hey, what's up guys, Alex here. Thank you for checking this video and welcome to the lesson number 14 of the series of tutorial on how to build a premium theme for WordPress. Welcome again. In this tutorial, we are gonna finally start to code our front end. In the previous 13th lessons, we basically coded just the backend, just the Sunset custom admin area, where we coded all the options that we want to give the user the ability to edit. Now we have to style finally the front end. If we access our front end, you will notice it's completely empty. There's nothing because we didn't code anything. We created the basic files, but we didn't code anything. So let's get started. Let's access our code editor and let's access the header.php. What I want to do, I want to start with the head. I want to start with the top to bottom. Of course, it's not going to be linear because if we access the design file, the Photoshop file that you can download for free in the description below the video, you will notice here we have a lot of different options. We have a custom background area, we have a custom logo, the center menu, we have whole different post types, different styles for each post types. Then we have a load more and a really simple footer. Plus we have a really nice sidebar that it's gonna slide from the right every time we click the sidebar button. And inside the sidebar we have the widget area with a bunch of custom widgets, custom options, nicely styled sections. So I'm gonna try to follow the logic of coding from top to bottom, but of course coding is not always logic. It doesn't follow the logic of top to bottom. So sometimes it's going to jump back and forth from different sections, but it's going to be fairly easy. It's something that we already saw in the WordPress 101 for beginner developers. So nothing new, nothing too complicated. Let's go back in our text editor and let's start coding our header file. So the first information that I want to put is actually a comment, because if you notice, every premium theme has a comment for every template or every page that the theme comes with. So let's start the comment of PHP and let's write something like, this is the template for the header. And then we can use @package, and if I remember correctly, we already used a package name that should be in the style.css. I didn't, so we can add this tag at the end of the list of tags. The tag that we want to add is text domain. The text domain is mostly used, or like only used, for actual text to echo some specific content, some specific inline content, and bind this content to a specific text domain. And in this case, it's going to be a unique name of our theme. So in my case, I want to use the package alicat_sunset. And this is gonna be my text domain. So I can use this text domain to refer the package of my theme. So every time I create section, every time I create a file, I'm gonna use package alicat sunset for the front end. If we access one of the files of the backend, we will notice that sometimes I use sunset theme. So we could also use this one if we want to keep it consistent between the front end and the backend. And I strongly suggest you to do so. So let's change this one. Let's access the style.css and let's change the text domain to sunset theme. So everything is consistent. Now we can start coding our actual header. First of all, let's create the doc type HTML. Close it. And let's open the HTML tag. Inside the HTML tag, we want to use WordPress function to print the actual language attribute of our theme, because probably our theme could be multi-language, could be not English, could be Italian, German, whatever other country you want. So it's always better to give the option to WordPress to automatically handle the proper HTML tag to print whatever language we're using. We can close the tag at the end and we can open the head tag, that is a standard HTML tag. Let's close the head tag to avoid mistakes, and let's write some meta tags that are really important for our theme. If we want our theme to be consistent, if we want our theme to be easily scannable by search engines and to be properly validated by an HTML validator. So let's start with the meta tag of charset. The charset is important for a lot of reasons: to decoding the proper font, to decoding the proper text, if we use special characters, if we have accents, if we have some other stuff that are not standard letters, a proper charset is really important. And also this part can be handled automatically by WordPress by using the function blog info and specify it inside the brackets that we want to print the blog info charset. So WordPress automatically will print the proper charset of our blog. And we can close the meta tag here. Let's open another meta tag that this time is going to be name viewport. The viewport meta tag is really important for a responsive device, for multiple devices, especially for Apple devices and tablet devices that sometimes they decide by themselves to not print full screen everything and force the scale of the touch zoom or the pinch to zoom to your design. We don't want that. We want that the width of our theme is identical to the device width. So our theme is going to be always 100% and not scale down, and we can force it also with the initial dash scale attribute equal to 1. So we're saying to whatever browser is going to crawl this page to put our theme at 100%, like don't scale it down, and put the width as the device width and not smaller or bigger. Also here there's a typo, width is equal to device dash width. The other meta tag that I want to use is the link rel profile. This link rel profile is kind of tricky because it's necessary to an HTML5 validation, but if you try to validate it with an HTML4, it's going to trigger an error, but it's always better to have it because it's a standard profile tag that is necessary for HTML. And in this case, we have to specify a specific URL where these informations of these specific profiles are. And the standard HTML URL is this one. You can find it pretty much everywhere anyway, is gmpg.org/xfn/11, and it's fairly standard. So let's use this one. The other one, I want to use the pingback URL. The pingback URL is something that you want to activate, especially if you want your website to scale up on the search engine results page or the SERP. If we want the pingback URL to be active, we want to give the ability to other blogs, to other websites, whatever platform, to ping back our website. So we need a URL in order to do that. And WordPress has these options by default, of course, with, again, the blog info function. So let's create the link rel, and in this case is a pingback. And the href is gonna be managed by WordPress. So let's open and close the PHP tags, and let's write blog info, open the brackets, and inside we have to specify, of course, ping back underscore URL and semicolon at the end, and let's close the meta tag. So before passing to other meta tags and concluding the header section, I want to spend a little bit of time on the pingback, because sometimes we don't want the pingback URL to be active on the home page. We don't want the pingback URL to be active on a specific front page that is not a blog post, or sometimes because in the administration panel we have the option to deactivate pingbacks, we want to avoid WordPress to print these automatically if the pingback is deactivated. If the pingback is deactivated and we leave this code here, this code is going to be empty. So The browser will recognize there's a pingback rel attribute, but the attribute is empty. So we want to hide this section in the case of the page is not a single post or single page, or the pingback's URL option is deactivated in the backend. To do that, we have to use, of course, a pre-built function of WordPress. So let's open and close the PHP tags. And let's write if. Let's check if this page is singular. So singular. Yes. So this page is not the front page, is not the home page, but it's a singular page. So it's maybe about, contact page, it's a blog post. So whatever page it is, has to check that this page is not an archive, or is not a search result, or is not the generic blog loop. Has to be a singular page. And plus, other than being singular, so double ampersand, you can write also and, all uppercase, but it's kind of standard to use double ampersand. And the option is the pings underscore open. Also, this one is a WordPress function to check if the pings is open. We have to check if this current object, this current queried object, has the pingback URL open. So to do that, we have to get underscore the queried, it's kind of complicated, queried object, and open and close the brackets. So if the pings open of the current queried object is true and this page is singular, we can print semicolon after the last bracket. We can print the pingback meta tag. Otherwise, just open and close and end if to conclude the if. So only if these two statements are true, we want this to be printed. Otherwise, it's going to be empty. And here at the end, as the last statement, we have to put the WP underscore head function to call all the other functions inside the head HTML, and we can remove the space. Here we can put a space maybe if you want, and let's open the body tag, and inside the body tag, inside the actual HTML tag, we want to print automatically the class, whatever class the WordPress is using to style our body. To do that, we have to use the WordPress preview function called body underscore class. Inside here, we could specify a custom class that we want. All this info that I'm writing, the body class, all the meta tags, I already touched these arguments in the WordPress 101 for beginner developers. So if you're confused, if for you I'm going too fast, I suggest you to take a look at that specific video where I go really slow and I explain in detail every option that you can have. For now, I'm going really fast because it's something that I already talked about. It's something pretty standard, pretty basic, so it's not really interesting and I want to keep going and building my theme. So let's save this. Before checking the front end, let's access our footer file. And right after the footer, we want to close the two tags that we opened in the header file. So we opened the body class and then we opened the HTML class. Also, also here, if we want, we can use exactly the same tag at the beginning, exactly the same comment. So we can copy these and put this comment at the beginning of the footer file. So this is the template for the footer and the package is sunset theme. Let's save it. Let's access our front end. Let's refresh it. Of course, we don't see anything, but if we access the page source, we will notice that inside here we have a bunch of different things. We have a lot of stuff that we couldn't see before because it wasn't generating properly. Here we have, as I told you, the body class with the default classes of WordPress. So it's detecting that we have an admin bar, you have no customized support, and a lot of bunch of other sections. Here also we have the admin bar that sometimes someone likes it, someone hates it. I personally don't mind it, but just for this tutorial, I want to deactivate it. So I don't want to see this admin bar, especially because it's creating a lot. It's including a lot of files, JavaScript files, it's including CSS files, and it's creating this gibberish here that I don't really like. So let's access our backend, and in the user section, let's access our user and let's uncheck the show toolbar when viewing site. Update the profile, let's refresh the source code, and this is way cleaner than before. We have just the standard thing, the thing that we define, the body is pretty much empty, and we have the standard WordPress source code. If we refresh, of course, here, everything's gonna disappear. Now, what I wanna do, I wanna input a bunch of custom styles, especially my style, the style of the theme, and the Bootstrap style, because I decided that my theme is gonna be based on the Bootstrap framework from Twitter, because I really like it, it's really solid, I like the grid, so we will use Bootstrap as a base grid for our theme. To use Bootstrap, you have to go on the website getbootstrap.com, click on the download button. I suggest you to download Bootstrap here, don't download the source or the SAS that you have to compile. Of course, this is not really indicated, especially when your website is ready. For now, because we are developing the website, we are in full development mode, we don't need more streamlined version, so it's fine to download the entire package. But before releasing our theme, when our theme is going to be ready, what we have to do, we have to go in the customize section and decide what we want to keep and what we want to remove. We have to really be careful on the weight of our source files, on how heavy and how many kilobytes are occupying in our theme. So we should spend a little bit of time here to customize what we need and what we don't, especially like if we don't use any modals, if we don't use any carousel functionalities, we should uncheck these jQuery plugins. If we use just, in Bootstrap, we use just the grid, just keep the grid system and untoggle everything else. If you don't use tooltips, popover, or pagers, or badges, whatever. We still don't know yet. I mean, we know a little bit what we're going to use based on our design. We can predict what we're going to use and what we're not going to use of Bootstrap, but it's never so straightforward. So I always download the entire package. I use whatever I want without any limitation. And then before releasing the final theme, the final product, I go here in the customized file, I check which options of Bootstrap I used, and then I streamlined everything. I already downloaded Bootstrap and I insert all the source file in their respective folders. So we have the CSS folder with my bootstrap.min.css, the JS folder with bootstrap.min.js, and then the fonts folder. We have to move the fonts folder outside the CSS folder. At the beginning of this tutorial, of this series, I put my custom sunset icons inside the fonts folder, but Bootstrap by default, the structure accepts the fonts folder in the basic root of our theme. So instead of changing the source code of Bootstrap, it's better to move this folder outside in the basic file 3, in the base file 3. So we're gonna have CSS, fonts, image, include JS, all in the basic file 3, and Bootstrap will work. It will be easier also in the future if we decide to update Bootstrap to a future version. The folder structure is the same. We don't have to update manually the source code. So now what we have to do, we have to go to our enqueue file and enqueue properly our CSS. But before doing that, I want to create a new file called just simply sunset.css. And this is going to be my basic file where I'm going to create my own custom code to customize and create my custom style for my theme. So now we are set to go, and we can access the file inside the include folder, the enqueue file. Here, if you notice, I already used this file to enqueue some admin files inside the administration panel. I don't need to edit that. I can keep it. I don't need to create another file. This is pretty streamlined. It's not gonna create any confusion. The thing that I have to do, I have to keep the two functions always separated because we don't want the front end style to be enqueued in the back end and vice versa. So let's go down here. Let's paste the comment style and let's put front end enqueue functions. Let's create a little bit of space so it's going to be at the center of your screen. And here we can create a function. So I can create a function called sunset underscore load underscore scripts and brackets, curly brackets. Let's open here and let's reuse exactly the same code that we used in the previous lessons where we register style and we enqueue the style. So let's do exactly the same, but also in this way we can use the streamlined version. We can use directly the enqueue style because I don't need to register the style and then enqueuing the style in some different pages because I'm enqueuing the basic style, the bootstrap that has to be enqueued everywhere. I don't need to register it before, so I can copy the WP enqueue style and let's use bootstrap CSS this URL bootstrap.min.css. The version of Bootstrap that I downloaded is the 3.3.6. Always put the correct version here so you will know what you're actually using. Let's put all to be printed everywhere. And we have to do the same with the script. We want to include the JavaScript version of Bootstrap in our front end. So also in this way, we can put bootstrap.js, bootstrap.min.js, and also in this way is dependent on jQuery and the 3.3.6. And through because we want this to be in the footer. Let's save it. If you notice here, I named these two enqueue style and script also bootstrap at the same time, and it's not a problem because automatically WordPress is gonna add -css and -js to my enqueue script, so it's not gonna create any issue. That could create an issue if I want register the style and then enqueue the style in a specific page. I need a unique name, otherwise that could be really, really confusing. So just bear in mind to use a unique name when you actually need it. And now to conclude, we have to write the usual action to actually call the function and enqueue the script and tell WordPress what it has to do with this function. So let's write add action, open and close the brackets. The first statement is the actual action that we want to call, and the action is WP enqueue underscore scripts. And the second parameter is the function name, then in my case is sunset load scripts, stated as a string, so inside single quote. Save it. Semicolon at the end, of course, save it. Let's go back in our front end. Let's refresh it. Let's view the page source. And here, as you notice, now we have our style sheet that is going to be with an ID bootstrap-css with our URL that's pointing to Bootstrap with the version of Bootstrap that we want. And plus we have the minified version here. So here, one thing that is missing is jQuery. But by default, WordPress is putting jQuery in the header, something that I don't really want. I mean, it's kind of okay, it's not that heavy, but if we want to really optimize things, we should put jQuery in the footer. We should load jQuery in the footer before anything else. And I don't really want the migration of jQuery because I'm gonna use jQuery still the version 1, I'm not gonna use version 2, so it's pretty comfortable. What I can do to force jQuery to move in the footer is using a specific couple of scripts, a bunch of scripts for WordPress to force WordPress to not load the default jQuery and put it in the footer. So still remaining in the sunset load scripts, let's do everything before the first enqueue script, because we want to do everything before loading other JavaScript files. jQuery has to be the first file to be loaded in the footer. So what I want to do is I want to call a function of WordPress called wp_deregister script. Is the deregister script actually does what it says. It's deregistering a script, so it's canceling a specific script inside WordPress, and it's saying to WordPress, even if you have this script registered in your backend, don't use it. I don't want to use it. So the script, I know what I want to delete is jQuery. Semicolon at the end, save it. Let's go back in our front end, let's refresh it, and if we access now the page source, we will notice that here we don't have anymore in the header jQuery is not included anymore. So now what we have to do, we have to print jQuery here, and if you notice here also Bootstrap disappeared. Why is that? Because we specified in the array of dependencies jQuery. So if jQuery is not loaded, Bootstrap.js cannot be loaded. In order to avoid an error to be triggered, it's always better to put a specific dependencies. So if the source file that we need is not loaded, WordPress is not going to load other files. It's not going to trigger any error. I mean, our website will be broken a bit, like some functionalities depending on jQuery. They're not going to work, but at least it's not going to load unnecessary files, and the user can still experience a little bit our website with simple integrations and simple stuff not related to jQuery. So now what we have to do, we have to actually download jQuery and put it inside our footer. To download jQuery, you can go to the actual official jQuery website, jQuery.com, and download the minified production ready version. I suggest you to download the 1.11.3 because it's the most compatible also with Internet Explorer. The version 2, from the version 2, jQuery dropped the support for Internet Explorer, and I'm kind of cool with that. Like, I agree, let's not support that crappy browser anymore, but unfortunately it's still used by a lot of users, so let's still support it. Let's put our newly downloaded file inside here, .js, and if we want, we can simplify things by writing simply jQuery.js. We're gonna put the version anyway inside our register script. Let's go back in our enqueue. Let's use this time the WP register script because we want to register and then enqueue the file, and maybe sometimes we don't want to enqueue the script jQuery everywhere. So let's use WP_register_script, and the string handle has to be, of course, as a string jQuery. The string search, as usual, get_template_directory URI dot to connect the strings, and then the URL of our jQuery file /js/jQuery.js. The dependencies doesn't have any dependencies, so it's false. The version, we have to specify the correct version, that is 1.11.3, and in the footer this time we can put it through. We want the file to be enqueued in the footer, and now we can enqueue the WP_enqueue script, and here we can simply specify just the unique ID that we decided that in our case is jQuery. Save it. Let's go back in our front end, let's refresh it, and now we have finally the script jQuery enqueued in the footer, not in the header. And because finally the dependencies is true, Bootstrap has jQuery, also Bootstrap is printed here. So now we have pretty much all the file that we need. The only file that it's missing is my style, the sunset .css, the standard file. So just duplicate the WP enqueue, and let's just put sunset, so it's going to be called the ID sunset-css, CSS. And here, let's put sunset. No dependencies, the version is the 1.0.0, and also this one is old. Save it, let's go back in our front end, refresh the source code, and check here. Also, we have the sunset. So I want the sunset, my file, to be underneath Bootstrap, because Bootstrap has the grid, so it has to be downloaded before my custom settings. So now we have everything we need to start coding our amazing theme. We have a proper header, we have all the style sheet file that we need, and we have the proper JavaScript file that we're gonna use. In the next lesson, we're gonna start coding the proper header. So we're gonna use the custom header option that we activated in the backend. We're gonna print the menu, and we're gonna print this nice logo with our font icon and the subtitle decided in our backend as well. So it's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. And if you like my tutorial, please spend a couple of minutes to check the support page to see all the different things that you could do to support me and my channel and help me to do better video and better tutorials for you. So as usual, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next lesson, guys, happy coding!